What up? We are live week 3, NFL Sunday. What a time to be alive, quoting the great Michael Rasile, or a great day to be alive. Rasile, I always butcher it. Next week, Mike, I got you. Ghost, how we doing?
I'm doing well, man. I absolutely love this slate. Research is done. We had a great call yesterday, the two of us, and I'm absolutely ready to smash for a third week in a row.
Awesome. All right, we're going to have a lot of fun today. We hope we can get a ton of questions and just a lot of user engagement like we did last week. That was a ton of fun. We will be giving away some free stuff today, a 3-month membership to Win Daily Sports. So if you don't have one, let us know. We are going to give it out to the best questions on the day. So if someone could stump us with like a start, sit, or just any good question that confuses us or gets us off the rails, that will be given a 3-month membership. Also, we got 80 shirts, just expected total yards. I don't know, someone's going to win one. Just make sure it's XL or down, because that's all I have in stock right now. So, yeah. All right, let's get to it. First game. I'm with Ghost here. Absolutely love this slate. I love one side of this game. It is the Patriots and the Raiders. I think the Patriots are now a 6.5-point favorite. And coming off that tough loss in Seattle, we've seen Cam Newton just run like a bat out of hell, especially in the red zone. The touchdown equity is through the roof. The 80 model absolutely loves Cam Newton. I do not even want to talk about Derek Carr. He is out of my player pool, especially with no Henry Ruggs. I absolutely love Cam Newton. He's in play for cash. He is certainly in play for GPPs, one of my favorite GPP quarterbacks this week. And those wide receivers you can pair him up with, we'll get to in a bit. But Ghost, what are you feeling?
Absolutely love Cam Newton. Way over the field in terms of how much Cam Newton exposure that I have. And I feel confident about it, exactly like what you said. He's definitely the main threat to that team. Obviously, quarterback, obviously throwing the ball, but he's basically the primary runner in the red zone as well. So a lot of people are looking at this Vegas team, and you know what, they may seem to think that, you know what, they look absolutely amazing, and rightfully so. Started off 2-0, beat a very good New Orleans Saints team last week. So, you know what? I'm on board with this game. I think it has sneaky appeal in the sense that Vegas can at least somewhat keep up. Both Josh Jacobs and Darren Waller are slated to play, and they're off their injury report, so that's definitely good news. I'm all in on a Cam and Edelman stack. Edelman's going to be seeing a ton of LaMarcus Joyner in the slot. Former hard-hitting safety a la Cam Chancellor, if I could say that, kind of making a comparison to his style of gameplay. Now he's playing slot corner, and he's one of, if not the worst rated slot corners in the entire league, right? So Edelman's in a smash spot here, primary target for Cam, and with how much ownership Nikhil Harry is garnering on both sides, he's creeping into the 20+ range, which definitely surprises me. You can get Edelman at sub 10% right now. Absolute smash spot for that duo.
Yes, sir. I love it. Also, if anybody out there has any injury news that comes in while we're doing the show, that would be huge. Stoby, I'm going to put you on that task. But yeah, Julian Edelman, absolutely love him today. He's got like a 5.5 catch prop. We got Nikhil Harry starting to get kind of popular on the slate. On DraftKings, it looks like he's going to be under 10% owned, but he's 4,200. He's got great red zone ability, touchdown equity there. He's got a 4.5 catch prop. And what are we looking at for the yardage? 50 yards. So even that alone, if Vegas is anywhere near his line, Harry's going to smash value, especially if he gets in the end zone. 80 mile absolutely loves him. Most projections I see for Nikhil Harry are around 12.5. The 80 mile shows almost 15.5. That's a little bullish. Maybe throttle that down a little bit, but I absolutely love Harry here. I'm not sure I want to pair Cam up with Edelman and Harry together. Ghost, you got any thoughts on that? Maybe just one each?
Probably not go both together. Simply the fact that Cam has probably the highest touchdown equity on the team with how much he runs in the red zone, and Sony Michel is pretty much irrelevant in the red zone there for them. Rex Burkhead can definitely vulture a touchdown away, but I'm not really concerned with Cam back-to-back weeks of running 2 touchdowns in, and of course he got stuffed at the goal line there against Seattle. So the attempts are there, volume's there. Not really looking to stack 2 wide receivers with New England unless you're absolutely in love with Vegas running it back with both Darren Waller and Josh Jacobs, which is not really something that I'm on today. More so just going Cam with one of Edelman or Nikhil Harry. Definitely love the Edelman matchup there for him. Absolute target monster, especially for DraftKings with full PPR, and his price on FanDuel is just is just disrespectful today, along with a million other guys. It's really easy to build on FanDuel today, so definitely in play over there as well. But the full PPR edge on DraftKings is huge for a guy like Julian Edelman. Nikhil Harry's price is definitely attractive on DraftKings as a primary salary saver, outside of some other guys that we're going to talk about in that $5,000 range. So I could get down with one or the other. Definitely do prefer Edelman, but I'm not playing both with Cam.
Yeah, I'm with Robert here. Raiders, sure, they look good so far, but New England should absolutely house them today. That's my one scare. This was going to be my favorite GPP stack, but usually, you know how much I talk about it. I love to get exposure to the other side of the ball because that would keep the pace rolling. I just don't see how Las Vegas can score in this game. And yeah, so I don't know. I hope that New England just throttles them early, kind of like we saw with Lamar Jackson last year, that first week against Miami. They didn't put up the pace at all. They just got their ass kicked early. But Lamar Jackson and Hollywood Brown went absolutely nuts for the first half, and they got like 30 points each. So we need that. And Mark Andrews, too, I think was big that game. But, yeah, Arnett, LaMarcus Joyner, Trayvon Mullen, that is an absolute problem on the outside and inside. So New England wide receivers in an absolute great spot. Damiere Byrd, $3K. If you're playing the Millionaire Maker and you want to just absolutely load up studs, just go Cam Newton into Damiere Byrd and just play everybody else you want to because you can afford it that way. Next game, Chicago, Atlanta. Also, I just want everybody to know Darren Waller is a 100% fade for me today. I do not mess with Belichick. Again, you know, the one threat that Las Vegas has is Darren Waller. I think they're just going to jam his ass at the line. I do not want anything to do with Waller. I think his ownership's up to 15%. Obviously, he had a huge game on Monday. I just don't want anything to do with it. I don't want any Raiders. Maybe a little bit of Renfro on the other side of stacks with Cam, and I guess you could play Edwards as well, but I don't know. I'm worried about that target share. I don't know what it's going to look like without Henry Ruggs out there.
He's creeping into the 25-plus range on both sites right now, Darren Waller.
Brian Edwards is?
No, Darren Waller, 25% ownership on both sides right now. So
easiest fade of the day, and there's a couple of them. Next game should be a fun one. We had a little COVID scare last night with AJ Terrell. They were thinking this game may not be played. It looks like they're good to go. Mitchell Trubisky and the Bears at Atlanta. The Bears are a 3-point dog. Haven't heard any news on Julio. If you guys have that, please let us know. But I think regardless, he's probably going to play that decoy role. We see him play at least 3 to 4 games a year because he's always hurt. I love the Bears side here. I even like David Montgomery. I want all of the Allen Robinson I can get because A.J. Terrell was their best cornerback. So now Isaiah Oliver is the top cornerback on the Falcons team. I'm not sure he would be a top cornerback on the local high school team. So that's a problem. Allen Robinson is due for some huge positive regression everywhere. Yardage, touchdowns, targets. Today's the day. Allen Robinson, go nuts.
Absolutely. Just to reiterate that point, please don't be looking at box scores when you're looking at Allen Robinson. If you're making a lineup based on game logs, we talk about it when we're on our NBA streams as well and every other sport. That's a recipe for disaster. And same thing applies here. If you're looking at Allen Robinson back-to-back weeks under 10 points, that's not really what we're looking at. We're looking at back-to-back weeks with 9 targets. He's the primary guy there, and we absolutely love to pick on this Atlanta defensive back group that Nick just compared them to a high school football team. So it kind of shares his feelings about how we feel about this matchup for him. Absolutely love David Montgomery as well. Atlanta allows the most receptions to running backs out of the backfield. Monty went, I believe it was 3 for 45 and a touchdown receiving last week. Ended up piling 80 plus on the ground as well. So look for them to get him involved and on both facets of the offense.
Yeah, his rushing prop is criminally low, 53.5 yards. Hit that if you can. Even if it's 54.5, go price shopping. I like it on any sports book right now if they're going to be that low. What about Calvin Ridley? Everybody's looking at this as if Julio Jones is a decoy, Calvin Ridley should have a huge game. I think that Ridley he's just a benefactor of Julio Jones drawing so much coverage. Obviously, Ridley's a hell of a player. I'm not going to sit here and say he's bad or anything like that, but he's creeping up towards 20% in ownership. I'm going to 100% fade Calvin Ridley in GPPs just because he's priced so damn high, but rightfully so. He's going off the first 2 weeks, like over 30 points in both games. I just think I want to spend my money elsewhere and avoid that chalk, especially if the Bears know that Julio Jones is not healthy. They're going to, not let Ridley beat them. Maybe if my game plan would be let 50-year-old Todd Gurley beat us if I'm the Bears defensive coordinator and head coach there.
I'm on the same page. Specifically on DraftKings, I'm in love with that $6,000 price range group. There's at least 3, 4, maybe 5 guys that I have a ton of exposure to, pretty much mix and matching all of them. And over on FanDuel, Calvin Ridley being priced even higher than Julio Jones. If that's not 2020, I don't know what is. I mean, I understand he had 2 great weeks, but Julio's still one of, if not the best wide receivers in the league. Definitely not in play this week, like you said. Most likely, if he does play, probably going to be a decoy. But again, the pivot there for me, if you are going all the way up to Calvin Ridley and you're not going up to DeAndre Hopkins for some reason for only $500 more, Chris Godwin's in an absolute smash spot that we'll touch on when we get to that Tampa game.
All right, Robert Smith, Gage or Hurst? I think this one's easy for me. I love Hayden Hurst in this game. He is the only Atlanta Falcon I really want to use. I will have a little bit of Todd Gurley, and disregard the train in the background there. But Todd Gurley, I've said it all week, this is the last game I'm going to give him, especially in season long. If you have him, this is probably the spot you have to play him in and just see if he could break out a little bit. He just looks so damn old. They're not using him in the passing game. That sucks because he'd be in a great spot here at 5,800 on FanDuel or on DraftKings. If you do think his passing work game goes up a little bit here with Julio limited or out potentially, this is the best spot for Gurley, in my opinion. So I will have a little bit of him in GPPs, but Hayden Hurst is my Atlanta Falcon. I think Russell Gage is in a great spot too. I'm just not a Russell Gage guy. I don't know what it is, but I can't do it.
Same thing for me. Matt Ryan definitely loves to use the tight end in a very tight end heavy offense there. We saw what Austin Hooper did last season, and they traded some solid draft capital there to get Hayden Hurst involved. And after a tough week 1, which we did point out the fade there because of the addition of Jamal Adams to that Seattle defense, he did wonders last week when we were all over him. And this week, with ownership at the tight end position pretty much spread out, aside from Darren Waller now creeping into the 25+% range as we're getting closer to lock, Hayden Hurst definitely sticks out for me.
Yep, Hayden Hurst for me, Rob. Quick question by Dre. Dre, how you doing today? Do I like Dalvin Cook and Humphreys mini stack? Absolutely, I do. We'll get to that. Great question. I am ready to talk about Dalvin Cook. Next game, another one of my favorites. Just trying to find ways to limit my exposure to those afternoon games, but we'll get to that. Not limit, but just not go all in on all the chalk. Cincinnati at Philly. Joe Burrow, Carson Wentz. I like both of these guys. Joe Burrow under 1% owned right now. I guess nobody's going to play him in a Zach Taylor offense that's likely to throw the ball 45 times against one of the worst secondaries in terms of pass defense DVOA. I know they have Darius Slay. I don't care. They also have Vontae Maddox, so that is a problem. Joe Burrow, that is one of my favorite GPP quarterbacks. Am I wrong, Ghost? What's going on? Am I okay to play him at 1%?
I do like it. 1% Joe Burrow. Absolutely, I could get on board. I know you're the Joe Mixon truther, so I'll let you touch on that as well. But I'm not really feeling like it's a Joe Mixon week right now against a stout Philly run defense. But I feel like this game has some sneaky shootout appeal to it. I mean, a lot of people talking about how bad Carson Wentz has been playing. It's not like since his defense is all that good as well. And this game has Miles Sanders written all over it. So with Miles Sanders doing work both on the ground and through the air as well, I'm okay running it back with Joe Burrow, and definitely is his favorite target in Tyler Boyd.
100%. Tyler Boyd against Nicole Coleman on the inside. Rough day today for me. Not enough coffee. But yeah, everybody and their brothers playing Miles Sanders. I think I'm on board with that. Usually I don't like to eat that much chalk, but 6,400, you just got to play him, especially when he's a 3-down back getting passing work against a pretty bad Cincinnati defense. I like the over in this game. I hope the pace can just keep going. And yeah, I absolutely love Tyler Boyd. AJ Green has some interesting player props. They're pretty low for how much targets he's getting. And he's a really good route runner too. And, a great player. Darius Slay's good, but AJ Green's better. So when people think about lockdown corners, think about who they're covering though. Like they have a tough. Darius Slay has a tough task today, but Tyler Boyd would be my guy. I definitely think you could use Carson Wentz, and that brings me to wrong question. Where are we at here? Carlos, should I play Ertz and Sanders? If it's DFS, absolutely. I think you're going to want to game stack this one if you're doing that. Get Wentz in that lineup or get Burrow and Boyd and play Ertz and Sanders on the other side. If you think this game shoots out, I really think it does. That is a great way to kind of game stack this one up and then just go get Seattle-Dallas exposure later or get a guy like Kenyan Drake, eat the chalk a little bit in the afternoon. But, yeah, Sanders and Ertz together. No one's really talking about Zach Ertz anymore. He's got a 4.5 catch prop. I think he goes well over that today. We need to see Zach Ertz get going. It's just such a tough call with Goddard and Ertz with how often these guys run the 12 formation with 2 tight ends. Deshaun Jackson, he's the only Philly receiver I have interest in. And then T. Higgins is going to see a lot of Avonte Maddox. And Avonte Maddox is worse than Isaiah Oliver, in my opinion, and that's hard for me to say. So if you do want to get crazy, millionaire maker only, you do not need to get this cute with T. Higgins in single entry. But the target share and the snap share went up a lot last week. I think they're going to ride this guy and kind of just fade away from Auden Tate and John Ross. So Tyler Boyd's my favorite play to pair up with Burrow. Mixon, I think I'm in. I was not in most of the week. On Monday, I thought it would be a Joe Mixon week, and I usually nail this all the time when it's his game. I'm just worried about the snap count. He's really never gone over 55%. It's only been 2 games again, but it seems like they're just going to use Gio Bernard while he's healthy, especially when they get down early and they're chasing points. So if they could kind of set the tone early and score first, I think this is a really good spot for Joe Mixon. He will get involved in the passing game a little bit, but we're going to see Gio Bernard, and that's just something I'm not super interested in investing a lot of Joe Mixon, but you don't really have to be different. He's only going to be 3-4% owned. So if you want to get 5, 6, 7, 8, get 2x the field on Joe Mixon, some of your lineups are going to have a really, really good shot at cashing if he goes off. So he's certainly a talented player. He could do that. And then tight ends. I mean, really every position in this game is in play. Drew Sample, I like him as a sleeper. I don't necessarily think I'm going to have a lot of them because Logan Thomas is right in that price range, and he has a guaranteed target share on that Washington offense. Drew Sample, again, if Cincinnati could score early, Sample's going to be used to block a lot. So that is my one concern. They are passing a ton to the tight end, but when you go back and watch, they do want to block if they're not getting their ass kicked early and have to play catch up and throw it 61 times like last Thursday. Then, yeah, Goddard and Ertz, you know what to do there. Probably just get a little bit of each. I wouldn't play them together. That's just not my thing. But what do you got, Ghost? Anything else on this game?
One thing for a Millie Maker, I feel like the understanding that, I need to make a lineup with strictly guys that are 1% owned or under to win a Millie Maker. It's not necessarily true, but if you are trying to get something a little creative and you're entering a $4 Millie Maker over on FanDuel or anything like that, you want to take a shot. I could get down with a Wentz and double tight end stack with both Ertz and Goddard. Very rare combo for people to be able to do that. But if this was a wide receiver situation, it would be a very feasible stack. Goddard had back-to-back weeks with 9 targets. Ertz had back-to-back weeks with 8 targets. If that was a wide receiver set that, we're talking about Seattle with Metcalf and Lockett combo. We're talking about Dallas where we can mention all 3 guys in Gallup, Cooper, and CeeDee Lamb. Why not go to the Philly train where you have 2 tight ends that they're running a bunch of 2 tight end sets out there, and both of them are seeing near double-digit targets. Jalen Reagor's out. Deshaun Jackson doesn't look like he's himself. Very sneaky play with him as well, coming in absurdly low owned. I'm personally not there today, but again, if you want to take a shot on this Eagles offense, this is the game to do it. I feel like it has some sneaky shootout appeal.
Absolutely, I do. And then here, Stephen King, the writer, our boy. Burrow, okay, on FanDuel and DraftKings. Half of my lineups on FanDuel have Joe Burrow. I'm more of a DraftKings player myself, so I only have, 12 lineups on FanDuel. He's in 6 of them. And DraftKings, I am well overweight on him. Yeah, I love him. If you're okay with that risky play a little bit, I don't even think it's that risky. I think this game should go over easily, especially if everybody likes Sanders as much. That means for him to hit value, most likely, or smash value that everybody thinks he's going to do, they're going to score a lot. That's a big game for Sanders. Cincinnati has to pass a ton on the back end, so it makes perfect sense to me. I like my lineups to tell a little bit of a story. And yeah, absolutely love Burrow on both. He is a little bit risky, but he's 0% owned, and it's one of the most pass-heavy offenses in the NFL. Sign me up. And he runs. No signs of Julio warming up on the field. Thank you, Win Daily Sports. All right. That is a problem. I want no Atlanta guys besides Hayden Hurst. Maybe Russell Gage. If you're a Russell Gage guy, I'm not going to talk you off of him. But, yeah, and then, we're pretty much not on any Las Vegas players as John Deere. Man, we got some celebrities. John Deere himself. And Stephen King. This is awesome. Yeah, I would say in Millionaire Maker stuff, you could use Edwards or Renfro. Is so damn disgusting. I don't ever want to play that guy, but I guess you could because the target share has to go somewhere. And Ruggs did use a lot of the slot snaps, so we should see a lot more Renfro. If New England's kicking their ass, Renfro's going to get a lot of targets. So I'm okay with Renfro as much as that hurts me to say. And then Brian Edwards is probably just the upside play. Burrow, Boyd, and higher dollar single entry too risky. On DraftKings, absolutely not. No, I love it. That is a value stack for me. I'm having a lot of that, Ron. So, no, if you trust this game to go over, Burrow, Boyd, and then just use Sanders on the chalk for the other side, I have a ton of those lineups too. So I'm with you, buddy. Let's do it. All right. Fade Ridley if Jones is out. For me, absolutely. If, like I said, I think Jones just draws so much coverage and respect from the defense. So it's really hard to cover two amazing wide receivers. But if you only have one, because Russell Gage is not amazing, it's going to be pretty easy for the Bears. And the Bears' pass defense is really, really solid. So I like that. Theo, our boy, we'll get to this one in a little bit. So don't forget, Ghost, write it down. We owe Theo a Josh Allen. Just, our thoughts on Josh Allen.
Absolutely. You know I'm going to talk about it.
Do you guys like Harry from the Pats, maybe Bird and GPP? Absolutely. I think we both love Harry. His Vegas prop is pretty high for a guy like that, priced down at 4,200 on DraftKings. Bird, I think it's more Millionaire Maker only, but again, Cam and Bird together it's so cheap. It's less than 10K combined. You can go anywhere you want elsewhere, and no one's going to play Bird. He's leading the Patriots in snaps on the for the receiving corps. So more snaps than Edelman, more snaps than Harry. They like this guy, and he's mid-priced. Doesn't make much sense. But for single entry, I don't know. You have to get that cute. But if you have the balls to do it, I respect the hell out of you. Next game. Oh, this one sucks. San Francisco, New York. I did have a little bit of love for Daniel Jones and GPPs just because they have no running back, and he's a running quarterback too, so you can go there if you want to. There's absolutely nobody healthy on San Francisco's defense. So this game certainly has a lot of DFS appeal. I know Sia's kind of high on it, and he's really good at uncovering these nasty game stacks that could blow up that nobody's on. Let's get to the running backs, though. Jerick McKinnon, chalk week, over 50%, 15% owned. 50 would be nuts. I am going to 100% fade Jerick McKinnon. I think you could play him in cash, but he's the same price as Devin Singletary. We know Singletary is going to have a clear workload there in Buffalo. I want more Jeff Wilson. The model likes them both a little bit just because New York, you could run all over. McKinnon's more the pass catching back, but the dude hasn't had like over 10 carries in a game since like 2017. That's a long time ago. So I don't know why people want to just dive into McKinnon when he hasn't had a workload in 3+ years. It doesn't make sense to me. But Giants defense, yeah, I guess that part makes sense. But Jeff Wilson, we've seen this guy come in and just score touchdowns at will on the games that he's active. So I like Jeff Wilson. Ghost, any thoughts on these running backs?
Especially over on FanDuel, both of them are getting really overlooked. Again, simply just because of, I don't know if it's a trap, but it's so easy to get builds with Miles Sanders, Jonathan Taylor, Kenyan Drake, and you can even go up to Zeke and whatnot. So other guys like Devin Singletary are pulling more ownership. So both of them are pretty much getting overlooked. I do lean Wilson maybe 2-1. So I would have double the shares of Wilson that I would of McKinnon. McKinnon's more of a big playmaker in the sense that, yes, he can bust off a 60-yard run to the house, but the volume's going to be there for Jeff Wilson. And even when last season when they had Matt Breida, Tevin Coleman, Mostert, when he got going, it was Jeff Wilson in the red zone vulturing touchdowns for 1 carry, 1 yard, 1 touchdown in a couple games. So if you think today is going to be any different when it's just him and Jerick McKinnon, I'm sorry to break it to you guys, but Jeff Wilson's the red zone running back there 100%. Look for them to get McKinnon involved, like we had discussed last week. Probably running a couple routes out of the slot, pass catching duties and whatnot. I do have a little bit of interest on this Giants side. My thoughts on this were pretty much the following. With Nick Bosa and Solomon Thomas both done pretty much for the year there. San Fran's D-line does take a hit, although they are still uber talented. They invested like 100 draft picks in the first round, drafting D-line after D-line after D-line. So let's not forget the depth that they do have there. But again, Daniel Jones will have not all the time in the world to throw the ball, but at least more time than he's used to behind that god-awful offensive line that they have there. So I feel like Shanahan's going to run his defensive scheme in the sense that they're going to try and make Daniel Jones beat them through the air. They're going to sag off into a lot of cover 2, a lot of cover 3, and they're going to say, you know what, you want to beat us? Daniel Jones is going to have to throw the ball 40, 50 times, and you're going to have to beat us through the air. Dion Lewis, not really a threat there in the run game. Devonta Freeman pretty much just picked up the playbook like 24 hours ago, so who knows what he's been doing, if he's even come off the couch in the past week or not. So not really much interest there in the running game. I really feel like guys like Darius Slayton and Evan Ingram could have a decent game if Daniel Jones ends up showing up. There's a lot of routes to be run there over the middle. Let's not forget that Golden Tate is back as well. Sterling Shepard is ruled out. So those would be the primary 3 targets to have there, Slayton, Ingram, and Tate. For a Millie Maker contest, I could definitely get down with it. My issue would be, who do you run it back with on the other side with how decimated this San Fran team is on both sides of the football. So I really do feel like San Fran's going to say, hey, you want to beat us? Daniel Jones is going to have to drop back and absolutely burn us through the air, and that's definitely a risky game to play. It
could happen, though. Warren Sharp says Evan Ingram breakout. My article said Evan Ingram breakout. So, no, absolutely love Evan Ingram this week. He is the most talented player on this New York Giants offense. He's healthy. We can't say that often. No Sterling Shepard, as Ghost mentioned. I'm not a Golden Tate guy by any means. Evan Ingram and Darius Slayton paired up with Daniel Jones makes a ton of sense to me, especially like Ghost said regarding the offensive line for New York. Not going to have to work nearly as hard as they have. This is a really, 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 really good spot for Evan Ingram. No one's playing him. Darius Slayton, I don't get why anybody's not playing him. He's a wide receiver 1 priced at $4,900. You will not find that often against a secondary that is absolutely awful. I will have a ton of Darius Slayton. I will have a ton of Evan Ingram. And then, I'll just do a bunch of mini stacks, Evan Ingram, and then Jeff Wilson on the other side. Darius Slayton or Jeff Wilson on the other side, and then these guys just solo, and then I'll stack them up with Daniel Jones as well. I think it's a perfect spot for both of them. Do not get cute with Dion Lewis or Wayne Gallman. Just absolutely no need for that. And then our boy, Mr. Rocker, surprised he's not at Beth Played Black right now playing golf and drinking martinis or whatever the hell Rocker does all the time, living the dream. Giants D, I'm okay with it. It makes sense for the salary relief. And Nick Mullins, I just think Sam Francis will run all over him and score 21 points. They have a team total of 23. So, who are the playmakers on the Giants? Are there anybody who's going to I don't see it. But I get the salary relief, so they're in play. I am not going to have much of them personally. But if Rocker's on them, fire them up. You trust them. Wilson absolutely is my favorite play in this game for San Fran. And then Ingram for me, Giants. And then obviously Slayton, smash spot 2. Good to move on, Ghost?
Absolutely.
All right, Houston and Pittsburgh. Big Ben breakout day. Calling it now. I think I projected him for 304 in my GPP article. That is obviously crazy, and I'm not actually standing by that. Unless it happens, I'll stand by it then. I'll be a fraud. My favorite play in this game, no one's talking about him. I don't understand why. James Conner. Give me all of the James Conner I could have. The model loves him. It has him damn near 19 points on DraftKings at 6.7K. That is almost 3x value. That is a smash for GPPs. I want a lot of James Conner. Ghost, talk me off him. Talk me on him.
I will not be talking you off him. Similarly to last week when we mentioned that a certain Packers running back would absolutely go off. And I think he did just that, if I may say so. For the both of us, everyone was on the Rodgers stack through the air with Devontae Adams. we ended up pivoting to the running back. I feel like both this and Seattle could be a sneaky spot to do that. Seattle being a little more risky. We'll get to that game in a little bit, but I definitely like James Conner in a spot like this. A lot of people talking Deontay Johnson, and rightfully so. Yes, it's only been 2 weeks, but the guy's an absolute target share monster. Juju getting overlooked because of that. So pretty weird to be saying that a wide receiver one on a very rejuvenated Pittsburgh Steelers offense is coming in lower owned than the wide receiver two because of that target share number. So don't be afraid to mix in some Juju as well into your Steelers stocks. But yeah, James Conner is the primary guy for me here all day long. I'm not sure I'm willing to run it back with anybody right now. Deshaun Watson is absolutely electric. He can make anything happen back there. So if you could get to a guy like Will Fuller, he definitely has the capacity, just like anybody in this, as good as anybody in this league, to go for 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. So I could get down with possibly mixing in some Will Fuller. The injury concerns definitely worry me. Brandon Cooks is a guy that's been extremely consistent throughout his career, whether it was with the Saints, with the Pats, with the Rams. He was consistently a 1,000-yard receiver, and we saw him building a rapport with Deshaun Watson last week as well. So if you want to run it back with one of those receivers, I get the GPP mindset there, but for me, I rather just go James Conner and Deontay Johnson in cash games.
Absolutely. We did miss a relatively good pixie here. Jordan Reed, yeah, he's got a 4.5 catch prop for 50 yards. For his price on DraftKings, that's certainly a really good value. I'm not very high on Jordan Reed this week. I just can't tell you why. I think it's because I'm going just down to Logan Thomas to afford people elsewhere. But yeah, if you want to play Reed and stack up this New York San Fran game, go ahead. Absolutely. All right, for Houston, yeah, I want nobody. Maybe a tiny bit of David Johnson, just because this pass rush for Pittsburgh is going to be disgusting, and that should be a ton of dump offs to David Johnson. He does most of his work through the passing game because they just don't give him carries, and they've been chasing points all year long. I don't see that changing today. Deshaun Watson, a little bit interested in him for GPPs just because this team has to win a game. So you're getting Houston's best effort today. They have to come out very motivated. Then Juju Smith-Schuster, I think, is in an absolute smash spot while everybody goes to Deontay Johnson. Deontay's great in cash. He'll probably be in my cash lineup as well, third in the NFL in targets. But Juju Smith-Schuster, I think this is a really good spot for a sneaky Juju game. I know we were on him last week. He had 6 catches, so it's not like he was down by any means. It just didn't really happen. But Eric Murray, the slot corner for Houston, is not good. Houston has a very tough time with the slot. I mean, Sammy Watkins had that massive game playing most of those snaps out of the slot in week 1. And then we saw Clyde Edwards-Helaire just run wild on him. So that's why I'm really, really, really liking Juju and James Conner. And you could certainly pair him up with Ben because Ben's going to chuck one. I'm sure Chase Claypool's probably going to have a 60-yard touchdown. There's a millionaire maker play if you want one, but the volume for him is a concern. Yeah, you could play Will Fuller and Cooks on the other side. Like Ghost said, I'm not in love with it. I don't think he is either. But if you just want to game stack this one a little bit for millionaire maker stuff, go ahead. Yeah, Connor is one of my elite plays. Eric Ebron, sneaky tight end. I'm not super high on him. The model likes him a little bit. So I think he's going to have a ton of red zone targets today. If I have Pittsburgh getting in the red zone that much, I can't just like Juju, Connor, and Big Ben because the tight end here makes a ton of sense. So I don't want to overlook him. I do like Ebron a lot at literally 0% ownership. So that would be a pivot for me off of Jordan Reed at the same relatively price point there. And I just like Houston's offense or Pittsburgh's offense a lot more. So I'd rather go with Eric Ebron over Jordan Reed. Moving on, Tennessee, Minnesota. We could stop for a couple questions here. Let's see. Cheer up, Charlie. Nice name. Fant, Goddard, or Hurst? Ghost, I think no matter what, my answer is going to be Hurst. I do like Fant a lot in GPPs. Goddard's more safe if this is a season-long question. I don't think Fant would be in the mix for me. I don't know if it's DFS, so never know. But Hurst, Fant, Goddard, GPP. If it's cash, Hurst, Goddard, Fant is not in play for cash. Where are we at? Let's keep going. Would you use Wilson Lockett? We'll get to that game. Sorry, Dre. But absolutely, short answer. And what could be a blowout? I like Claypool. Will catch and run some in. Am I crazy? No, you're not, Pixie. Just mentioned that. I think Claypool is certainly a millionaire maker type of play. You don't need to use him in season or in single entry or anything like that, but in a really large field, I think you could certainly go Claypool. Absolutely. Juju over Connor. For me, I'm Connor. Ghost, what about you?
Team Connor all the way.
But I love Juju too. I think you could pair both of them up with Big Ben. Connor's going to get some passing work. What about Thielen Humphreys? All right, we are getting to that game right now. So we'll keep this question up for Julian. We appreciate all of everybody's questions. It's awesome. We're here for you guys. So Tennessee, Minnesota, one of my favorite plays on the board. I don't understand it. Dalvin Cook. We do not have Barkley. We do not have Kamara. We do not have Aaron Jones. We do not have Edwards-Helaire. We do not have McCaffrey. Those are the top dog running backs that we usually see every week and have headaches on who we're going to play. None of them are on this slate. But nobody wants to play Dalvin Cook. I don't get it. All the other people for RB1s are out right now. I mean, Derrick Henry, too. Certainly, he's in play. Always play Derrick Henry. And then the other top dog is Zeke Elliott. So Zeke Elliott and Dalvin Cook are the two top running backs on this slate, yet nobody is playing Dalvin Cook. Ghost, what's going on? Why aren't we playing him? He's got like minus 180 to score this morning. That's third on the NFL prop sheet. So behind Derrick Henry and Zeke Elliott. So why is no one playing Dalvin Cook? The total's 50 points. I don't get that total, for the record. I don't get how it's so high, but Vegas isn't that dumb. So what's going on? The total's 50, and no one wants to play the lead running back in the second best outside zone running scheme in the NFL against a terrible run defense that James Robinson, shout out Illinois State University, just carved up last week. I'm getting mad that no one's playing Dalvin Cook, which is good for me because I'm going to have a ton of them. But I want the field to be better. I don't get it.
I don't understand. I'm looking at this right now, and I was spamming my refresh button trying to see if there was an error in our ownership projections, the ones that we have right now, and it's not. It's just there. Josh Jacobs is coming in 10% higher owned than Dalvin Cook. I don't get it. This is an absolute smash spot for him. You got the trio of Kenyan Drake, Jonathan Taylor, Miles Sanders drawing close to 40% ownership on FanDuel. If you want to get different, you end up fading a guy like DeAndre Hopkins, going down into that $7,000 range where there's plenty of guys to love over on FanDuel, and then you pay up from one of those guys and get Dalvin Cook in your lineup. That is one way to get different, and you're not sacrificing upside whatsoever. Dalvin Cook could possibly be the highest scoring running back on the slate. It's an absolute smash spot for him. So I know people are, myself included, a little bit worried about how bad the Minnesota offense looked last week, but let's not forget how good that Colts D is as well. Kirk Cousins had a rough day, obviously. So Dalvin Cook is a guy to own in a GPP lineup right now, coming in at sub 10%, and you're looking at not only the most talented running back on the slate, but a guy that can outscore every single one of them.
Hell yeah. And there you see it. Julio is out. All right, let's get to Julian's question now. Adam Thielen, Humphreys, and KJ Hamler. I am not going to play any KJ Hamler. I get that, the target share is going to be there a little bit now with Sutton out. I want to see this offense do it first, and I'm not going to invest in Jeff Driscoll. So KJ Hamler's out for me. Adam Thielen, I'm never a Thielen guy. I think he's in play, though, for sure. He's kind of a little popular, getting to 12-15% range, but it is a really good matchup against these Tennessee corners. Noah Dory-Jackson. Let me just make sure of that he is out. Yes, he is. Yeah. So Thielen kind of lines up all over the place, and the best place to go is probably against Malcolm Butler. He's getting old. He's not nearly what he was before. Slot with Chris Jackson for Tennessee, that's bad. So if you want to play Justin Jefferson, sure, but I just want all the shares of Dalvin Cook. That is going to be my exposure to Minnesota. I cannot play everybody, so Thielen is not in my player pool. Maybe for like MME, I think he is a little bit. But Humphreys and Corey Davis, absolutely. Holden Hill is going to have to cover Corey Davis. That is a problem. And what I don't understand is last week, everybody in the world wanted to play Corey Davis. He was chalk. The matchup was solid. The matchup's way better this week. The total's higher this week. And now no one wants to play Corey Davis. I don't get some of the things that are going on here. So Corey Davis, Adam Humphreys absolutely are in great spots. So Julian, for sure, you could use Thielen too. Don't get me wrong. He's just not really in my player pool because there's so many other guys I like. I'd rather play Juju over him in that price range, stuff like that, and just Dalvin Cook. That's what I want from Minnesota. But Humphreys and Corey Davis, what do you got for me, Ghost? I don't understand the Corey Davis thing. I don't get how people get off of him a week after he was chalk, and now his matchup's better.
I'm definitely not a Corey Davis guy.
Neither am I. For the record,
I don't play Corey Davis. Neither one of us do, and the fact that he's high up both of our lists right now just shows how much we believe in his matchup. So not much for me to add there. I don't understand how he's coming in under 5% owned for a guy like that. He definitely has an exploitable matchup out on the outside. Adam Humphreys down the middle in the slot, definitely a good play as well. More of a PPR play over on DraftKings, and he's really cheap. So I could get down with that. But let's also not forget Jonnu Smith. Absolutely robbed Derrick Henry of multiple touchdowns last week. So whether that happens again, that's a big X factor because you know what, the 2 touchdowns really catapulted him into that 20+ point range. But again, 4 receptions for 84 yards. He ran some surprisingly deeper routes there, and Tannehill was looking for him. So I could get down with this Titans offense as long as you think that Minnesota could end up keeping up. If you are stacking, if you want to get wild in a Millie Maker again, you want to run Tannehill. I mean, the Tannehill to AJ Brown combo won us so much money towards the end of last season. Unfortunately, he's not in this game, but if you go Tannehill to Jonnu, Corey Davis, Adam Humphreys, 2 out of the 3, whatever you may do, just make sure that you're running back with at least Dalvin Cook or Adam Thielen. But as both, I think Stix would agree with me here that we're all aboard the Dalvin Cook train today.
Hell yeah, Stephen King, Dalvin Cook, Derrick Henry together on FanDuel. I think it's all right for FanDuel, absolutely, because just the touchdown equity alone for both those guys is through the roof. Again, 2 of the top 3 guys in odds to score this week. So yeah, I like that. It's not, I don't know, people always say that's like anti-game script, both of them having a good game together, but they are the number one focus on both of their offenses. I think you could definitely go with those guys, and no one's playing them. So combined, you're getting Derrick Henry and Dalvin Cook at like a aggregate 12% ownership. Both of those guys can score 2 touchdowns. So I do like that, Steven. Ghost, you're more of a FanDuel guy. Am I wrong here? Is that good to go?
No, it definitely makes you have a different lineup. The one thing that I would advise is please don't do that in cash games because
yes.
The trio of Sanders, Jonathan Taylor, and Kenyan Drake are drawing so much ownership that, you know what, if Derrick Henry gets vultured again by Jonnu Smith 3 times in a row and Miles Sanders, Jonathan Taylor, and Kenyan Drake go off, you're going to be really behind the field. But for a GBP, absolutely go both running backs from that game and find your value elsewhere.
All right, and then here you go. Julio out, we know that. John Ross out. T. Higgins, Duke Johnson. I don't want to tout T. Higgins, though. That's just more of like a Millie Maker shit. Duke Johnson out. So, again, there on the backside of your Pittsburgh stacks, there's no one behind David Johnson. He's going to get 5-6 catches. So, yeah, David Johnson, all right. Josh Jacobs, active. Cool. The Raiders are going to suck today anyway. All right. We got that one. Let's see some questions. Would you put Bird and Claypool in your Millie? Not together. That is like you're reaching for the stars with one of them. So 2 of them, you're reaching for like whatever's past the stars. I don't know. Shit analogy there. I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying, though? That's too crazy. But if you want to do it, go ahead with Cam. Yeah, love Cam. We know that. So I'd just play Bird and Cam. I don't think Claypool on the other side, unless like the rest of your line's just amazing and you just have to sit there and pray that Bird and Claypool catch deep touchdowns, which is possible. I mean, Millionaire Maker lineups sometimes are really, really weird. Ah, shit. I'm talking myself into it. Sorry. Answer's no. Answer's no, Trey. I'm sorry. Don't do it. But if you want to, you can. Let's see. All right. Here's another question. Jonathan Taylor, Drake.
This one gets a shirt.
This one gets a shirt. All right, Steven, DM one of us and let me know the size of your shirt, and we'll get you an 80 shirt.
Great.
Or 3 months free to win daily. Your call. Let us know what you want. This is a tough one. Jonathan Taylor, Drake, or Carson for the late game hammer.
Oh, boy.
I'm going to answer this question as if it's DraftKings. I think Drake's my guy, and I hate the chalk there. But I love Carson too. So I think Jonathan Taylor for sure on DraftKings is the odd man out, price at $7K. Carson's cheaper. Go with that. It's exposure to the highest total game on the slate. Drake or Carson. Shit, that is tough. This is like what we wanted. Like, who can stump us and tongue-tied here and say a bunch of shit? Final answer, Drake, for me. Ghost, what do you got?
So both Kenyan Drake and Carson provide great leverage over some uber chalk over at the quarterback position. You'll hear both of our takes, which is pretty much the same take on a certain quarterback that's coming in ridiculously high owned when we touch on the chalkiest game of the slate. But Kenyan Drake is a great leverage play today because if people are stacking Kyler Murray with Nuke and Drake, not exactly the best stack in my opinion with all three of them without running it back with a couple Lions, and I'm not in on that Lions offense, so I would pick 2 out of the 3 or just run Drake alone. And right now I'm running Drake alone. Same thing goes for Carson with everybody on Wilson, Lockett, and Metcalf. What better way to see everybody on full tilt when Chris Carson ends up running one in instead of Lockett or Metcalf getting the touchdown. And not only are you laughing because you don't have shares to those guys, but you also have Chris Carson in your lineup. So definitely a smash spot there. Jonathan Taylor might see 30 plus touches today. Definitely the safest floor, but upside, I will go Drake out of the 3.
All right, and then we love Carson too. So that's a tough ass question. Again, DM me, Steven, if you want, at Stix Picks with an X. No Fant or Hawkinson. I'm gonna go no Fant. Hawk, I don't know. Now I got the sunshine in my eyes. Shit. All right, yeah, Font for me. Dev Singletary or Josh Jacobs in 5-point PPR. So that's got to be your season-long league. You drafted Josh Jacobs to play him. You got to play him, right?
Absolutely. For me, from a DFS perspective, not really. It's not a fair question to ask yourself when you're building a lineup if you're considering Josh Jacobs or Singletary, just because of the discrepancy in price. So don't make things too hard on yourself in that sense where you're debating Singletary or Jacobs. For season long leagues, it's very hard to justify saying a guy like Josh Jacobs with the draft equity that you probably invested in him. I'm the number one advocate for saying, you know what, if you drafted a guy in a high round and he's busting, don't be afraid to drop him or trade him. But a guy like Josh Jacobs, I would definitely play him, because if they have any shot at all with keeping up with New England today, Josh Jacobs is going to get all the volume that he can handle.
Yep. Yeah, they got to keep their best game plan is to keep Cam off the field. So Josh Jacobs is the path to do that. So yeah, you drafted Jacobs in the second round, most likely. You got to play him. Don't get cute in season long. Murray and Fitz stack. We're going to get to that. Oh, Dre's in my mind right now. Fitz, my boy. I'll get to that. All right, Cleveland, Washington. Not going to spend a whole lot of time on this game. Washington, you could play Antonio Gibson in tournaments just because the talent and the snap share is going up big time. Looks like they're going to ride this guy. I love that. Have a ton of him in season long. And Jay and I have him on the Sirius XM League. Not excited about this start against Cleveland, but with his skill set, he could do some things. Nick Chubb, always in play for me. I'll just be right at the field. He's just under 10% ownership, but he's higher priced than Miles Sanders on DraftKings. I think you just take the free square in Miles Sanders. Wide receiver, I absolutely love mini stacking these two fellas here, Odell Beckham and Terry McLaurin. I absolutely love Odell Beckham this weekend. He's one of my favorite GPP plays. He is 6,300 on DraftKings. We're likely never to see him at that price again. And it's just like, it's such a chalky slate, especially there's so much wide receiver upside. But would anybody be shocked if Odell Beckham broke the slate? And you look at winning lineups all day, tonight, whatever the case may be, and you're like, shit, Odell Beckham. I didn't have any Odell Beckham, but like, he's not a sleeper by any means. He's one of the best route runners in the NFL. I think that Cleveland runs that trick play where they throw it to Odell in the flats and he throws a touchdown. Hopefully they don't drop it though. Maybe it's to Rashad Higgins or something. Maybe he runs that route. Odell's going to have a big, big day against Fabian Monroe and Ronald Darby. You know how much I like to pick on Ronald Darby. None of these guys can contain Odell Beckham. His target share is at 34%, people. The only other players with that high of a target share are Devontae Adams, likely Michael Thomas if he was healthy, and DeAndre Hopkins. So that's it. You don't have to it's not reinventing the wheel here by any means. They are feeding Odell Beckham the ball. The touchdowns just aren't there yet. They're coming, and it's coming today. And then Terry McLaurin on the other end. I haven't heard anything on Denzel Ward. Does anybody know his health? either with if Denzel Ward's going to play, he's not 100% healthy. Mclaurin is a wide receiver 1 priced under 6K, similar to why we liked who was that receiver at 4,900 that we were talking about? Oh, Darius Slayton, wide receiver 1 priced under 5K for him. Terry McLaurin, absolutely get overweight on him in your MMEs. Play him in single entry. Pair him up with Odell on the other side. Just get a little mini game stack here if you think this game paces up a little bit. But if Denzel Ward's out, yeah, I want a ton of Terry McLaurin.
Yeah, absolutely. Even if he is in, I'm not too worried. I mean, Ward's never typically been that much of a shadow corner. I mean, he could play both sides of the field, but McLaurin plays all over the place on the outside in the slot. So they're going to need him to get going, run it back with OBJ. I'm 100% on board with that as well. Over on FanDuel, again, anyone that's priced over Miles Sanders at 7,400 is pretty much coming in low owned, with the exception of Chris Carson. So getting Nick Chubb there at 1% ownership, even after his big week last week, is definitely a little surprising to me. So I will be a little bit overweight on FanDuel with some Nick Chubb shares as well. But it pretty much comes down to those 3 guys for me. I'm not a Baker Mayfield truther, so making a full stack with him, OBJ, and then running it back with McLaurin is not something that I'm all that interested in, but more so Chubb and then both stud wide receivers.
All right, then Logan Thomas, free square tight end. I have never been on him yet this year, but this is a great spot against Cleveland. You could certainly tear them up in the inside, and if we think Odell's going to have a really big game, you don't have to go to Terry McLaurin if you don't want to. Just get Logan Thomas on the other side. He is my cash game tight end, 100% on DraftKings. I'm just taking the salary relief and jamming in some other guys. But that's about it for this game. I wish I could talk more about Nick Chubb. I do think it's a great spot for him. I will not play Kareem Hunt today. Cleveland's just such a big home favorite. This sets up well for Nick Chubb. Again, a little bit of Antonio Gibson. If you're playing like 150 lineups like I like to, go ahead. Odell, yeah, smash spot. Logan Thomas, don't overthink it. Use them. Let's move on to the next game. I am not going to talk about this one very much. The Rams at Buffalo. Usually we are always about Josh Allen. I'm off him this week. Ghost, what about you? You're the Josh Allen truther. Whenever you say he's going to go nuts, he goes nuts.
So again, under 5% ownership for a guy that's absolutely electrifying out there. My one concern is if Aaron Donald, who's probably one of, if not the best player in the entire league, absolutely wreaks havoc there. But the opportunities are going to be there. Expect Diggs to be on Jalen Ramsey. Those two are two of the hottest hotheads in the league, and I wouldn't be surprised if they got into it on the field today. So it's going to be Josh Allen to John Brown all day. Probably mix in some Cole Beasley as well, but that's definitely not a sexy pick. So probably go Josh Allen to John Brown, and that's about it. Devin Singletary definitely has some high upside. We spoke about it yesterday, and definitely caught our eye. It was more of a leverage play, and now he's creeping into that 20+% range. So I guess everyone kind of saw what we were seeing, even though it was later than us. We loved him when we saw him at 2% ownership, and now when we added a 0 there, definitely somebody that's noteworthy in our cash games as well. But Josh Allen is the quarterback of this team. He's going to be the running back of this team in the red zone. If they want to win this game, he's going to have to do everything there. It's tough for me to say. I do have one Josh Allen lineup. I'm not overweight compared to the field like I usually am, like I was in the first 2 weeks of the season. I just can't get there with how much I love Cam Newton and Russell Wilson this week. So I'm okay with it for GPP, but in your single entries, I would look elsewhere. As much as that's hard for me to say. Sure.
I'm with you. I just can't. There's too many quarterbacks today that I like. I'd rather go to Joe Burrow than Josh Allen. Hope that doesn't kill me. But Devin Singletary, absolute smash lock button in DraftKings cash games. I think you really only have the choice at the value running back of McKinnon, Singletary, and Mike Davis. I think Mike Davis and Devin Singletary are probably the top plays for the value in cash. Devin Singletary, I'm going to fade in tournaments, especially if he's 20% owned. I don't see the upside in tournaments, especially like Go said. Josh Allen is their number one running back in the red zone. So Singletary, great for cash. Easy fade for me in GPPs. And then who do we got here? Darrell Henderson or Darrell, Damn it, Michael. I always mess that one up. I like him a little bit in GPPs. I think he could run on Buffalo. Anybody know, is Edmonds or Milano in or out?
Edmonds is in. That was the next point that I wanted to touch on.
All right.
And Milano is as well.
Okay. I want nothing to do with chasing Higbee from last week with those two in. They're both, Milano, I think, covers the tight end. He's a stud. And Edmonds is one of the best run blocker or run stoppers for Buffalo. So Henderson, not necessarily in on anymore. And let's go to the wide receivers. I think this is a great spot for Cooper Kupp against Teron Johnson. If you guys watched it last year, I like to pick on him. Pixie, you like the backdrop? Thank you, buddy. Hey, I missed the city view too. That apartment was sweet, but moved out to the burbs, getting old, punting on life, if you will. Still having fun though, whatever. Cooper Kupp, probably only receiver I want to play in this game. I'm not going to use Woods. Tre'Davious White, he's a stud too, but Cooper Kupp's going to get Teron Johnson. He's going to get 6-7 catches. Great on DraftKings. The only issue I have with him is the upside. We need 2 touchdowns out of Cooper Kupp for him to just go nuts in GPPs. Moving on. Afternoon games. Let's get after it. Carolina and the Chargers. Carolina is the worst run defense in the NFL by far. They're giving up 3 rushing touchdowns per game to the opponent running backs, but the field doesn't agree because Austin Eckler is 5% owned and Josh Kelly's 6%. Take it away, Ghost. I don't get people.
I don't know if it makes me excited because of how much Josh Kelly and Austin Eckler I have. I don't know if it just makes me mad. I don't know what it is. Everyone was talking about this duo heading into this week. Like anybody else, I'm sure everyone starts looking at the slate. The moment Monday Night Football is done, pricing is usually out, and you know what? You end up looking who is a free square going to be and whatnot. And on both sides, Josh Kelly is really underpriced. Austin Eckler is coming in under 5%. He's still the RB1 there. I just don't get it. When did Carolina's run defense all of a sudden become somewhat respectable that people are not playing Chargers running backs with a rookie Herbert under center as well, that they're going to want to control the game flow and limit his mistakes? Looked great last week against Kansas City, don't get me wrong, but again, still a rookie. They're going to want to pound the ball as much as possible. I really wouldn't be surprised to see both Eckler and Josh Kelly get 20-plus carries in this game and for them to really control the game flow here. I'm not on Carolina's offense as well. I think Bridgewater has a really tough time today. That Chargers D, we've been speaking about it for the first 2 weeks as well. Their defensive backcourt is definitely respectable as well. They have a great defensive line. They're going to bring the heat. No CMC for Carolina. I don't think they're going to respect Mike Davis's run game. That's for sure. So they're going to load up the box and they're going to bring the pressure on Teddy Bridgewater and try to force him to make some really hard throws. I don't think he gets the job done. Chargers are going to run the ball all over this defense, and I really wouldn't be surprised to see both of these guys end up getting 20-plus carries and a touchdown each.
Yeah,
I don't get it. I don't understand how not playing Chargers running backs.
Melvin Ingram is out for the Chargers, so Mike Davis is in a little bit better spot than what we were thinking. So you could definitely use Mike Davis. You could always use DJ Moore. I don't know. I like this Los Angeles secondary, and their pass rush is just so good. But Ingram being out certainly puts those guys back in play. Robbie Anderson, go ahead. Tight ends, Hunter Henry, probably the only tight end. Obviously, I don't want Ian Thomas. So Hunter Henry, how much that Herbert leaned on him. Rookie quarterback's going to throw the inside. So that killed my Mike Williams calls last week, but I'm not going to chalk that up as an L because I had no idea Tyrod Taylor got stabbed in the lungs. So that sucked. The game starts and then Herbert says, "What the hell happened?" He's not going to throw it outside. And he sure as hell did not. But Hunter Henry in a great spot. Let's move on to the Jets and Indy. Brings us to a question here. Where do we see one? Oh, Ghost, real quick. You're the FanDuel guy. What do you think?
Defense on FanDuel under 4,500. My top defense on the board are the Bucks at 3,800. So that's way under your price range. Bears are definitely viable as well, especially with Julio out. I know Stix mentioned that in his article, and he specifically said if Julio is out, then they become much more attractive. That's exactly what we have here an hour before lock. So Bears could definitely wreak havoc on that offense as well. Eagles are coming in super chalky. I don't see it. We're all over Joe Burrow, Tyler Boyd. Nick's calling it Joe Mixon game as well, or at least
a little bit.
At least a little bit of a game, not a slate breaking game, but a decent game from Joe Mixon. So both of us are on that Cincy offense. I don't see how the Eagles are coming in chalky. For me, it would be Bucks all the way, and Bears are coming in virtually unowned. Bucks are the chalkiest defense on FanDuel. So if you're going GBP, could get down with Bears. If you're going cash, 100% the Bucks.
Giants or Jets? I prefer neither, but Giants would be my call there. If you have to, if that's what your build mandates that you do that, Giants D. All right, next game.
About punting Jets D. They get a lot of their points from sacks. Colts are the best offensive line in all of football. That's very tough. I understand the thought process. It's a good thought process to punt D at 2,000 on DraftKings with Jets D. They're going to allow a ton of points. They need sacks. Phillip Rivers will not get sacked all that much. So,
boom. All right, Indy, an 11-point favorite against the Jets. I'm not going to talk about one Jets player. They're all out of my board. Do not play Braxton Berrios or whoever their wide receiver one is now. Chris Hogan. Cool. I'm out. Jonathan Taylor, the only player I'm interested in this game. He's super, super chalky, super expensive on DraftKings regarding what I would think his price would be at, but he's going to get a shit ton of touches. Definitely use Jonathan Taylor. Jack Doyle, if you're doing some MME, you could use him as a tight end, but that's it. I'm not going to play T.Y. Hilton. I think that was a question early. Or Steven, do you like T.Y. at all today? I do not. I think he certainly could catch a deep touchdown, but Phil Rivers just doesn't throw the ball deep anymore. So I don't hate T.Y. There's too many other receivers that I mentioned that I like so much more. But you could certainly, if you got a feeling about T.Y., I will never tell you not to play him because same thing with Odell. Like if T.Y. broke the slate, would you be surprised? Like he has that upside, so you can certainly play him. He's just not in my player pool this week. Jonathan Taylor, that's it. That's all I want. How about you, Ghost? I feel like this one's easy. And then Colt Steve, certainly. Colt Steve's
Jonathan Taylor. That's it.
Yep, and then Colt Steve, use them as well if you have the salary. I don't like paying up for defense that much.
Yeah.
But my cash build allowed it, so that was really jamming in Sanders, Devin Singletary, Kenyan Drake, and Logan Thomas. It allowed me to put it. I think Allen Robinson's in my cash lineup too. I'm just giving away my whole lineup, but feel free to use it, guys. Lockett was the other one. There it is. But yeah, and then Colts defense was easily affordable in that. So, and Deontay Johnson, I think, was the last player on that one, if you want it. All right, the two games everybody wants to talk about: Detroit, Arizona. Want to hear something crazy? Kyler Murray is out. I did my MME 150 lineups. Not one of them has Kyler Murray. The model loves him, so I'm just being stupid and taking a stance that I'm not going to play a quarterback who's 22% owned. I think Kyler Murray is by far the best cash quarterback you could use this week. So if you're building some double-up lineups, Kyler Murray, I would probably start there, or Cam Newton, or Russell Wilson. I don't like to pay up for Russell, though, in cash because it's just not necessary, but you could do it this week with all the value out there. So Kyler Murray, I don't even want to talk about it because I'm scared as hell. The chalk I am going to eat in this game is Kenyan Drake. He's like 25% owned. I'm sure he's going to be 30, 40% owned in single-entry GPPs. I think that's fine to use him. We love running against Detroit. What I don't want to do is get off of great plays because of ownership. And what I like to do against Detroit is take the running backs. Hello, Aaron Jones last week. And then what I like to do against Minnesota is the pass catchers and the quarterbacks. So hello, Aaron Rodgers and the Packers week 1. And hello, Corey Davis today. Tannehill, you could use them too. I just don't see them throwing the ball that much. So Detroit, Arizona, Kenyan Drake for me. On the Detroit side, I'm not going to play anybody. I guess you could play Marvin Jones. It looks like Galladay's going to play. Obviously, DeAndre Hopkins, smash spot too, but the bracket coverage that Patricia and the man defense is going to run should limit Hopkins a little bit. Similar reason why I faded Devontae Adams last week. I think I'm going to be underweight on Hopkins this week. Great in cash. So if you want to use him, I'm not going to talk you off of him. He's definitely the wide receiver 1 on the slate. But the guy I like a ton, Dre brought it up earlier, Larry Fitzgerald. If you want to get different in this game, there is no Christian Kirk. Larry Fitzgerald has a 5.5 catch prop. I have not seen him have that in like 2 or 3 years. So Vegas really likes Larry Fitzgerald here. That caught my attention. That's enough for me to get on board a 2% owned Larry Fitzgerald. If you want to get different with this chalky game, Larry Fitzgerald is my guy.
Absolutely. Do you want to talk about
DraftKings?
you want to talk about Matt Patricia's spy defense?
Oh, this is great. So Ghost and I probably spent a good hour and a half yesterday going through every box score against Matt Patricia and running quarterbacks. So this is why I was like, I'm trying to find a way to fade Kyler, and I couldn't do it. But we went through all these box scores, and he does very, very, very well at limiting rushing quarterbacks. And the most pleasing one was like rookie year Josh Allen. All he did was run the football. I think he had like 13 yards rushing against Patricia's defense, and a lot of attempts, like 9 or 10 attempts. Like they just bottled him up. So Detroit, Patricia, please bottle up Kyler so I don't die in GPPs. That's all I ask. And that's it for me on this game. I'm not going to play any of the tight ends. Hawkinson, he tore up this defense last year, but their new defense, they got Simmons now as a safety from Clemson, right? Is that the Clemson dude? So it's not the same defense against tight ends. So don't just auto plug tight ends against Arizona like we did last year. Quick question here, and then we'll get back to this game goes. Using Herbert, safety blankets, and Henry and Allen a good stack. Yeah, if you're using Herbert, use them with those two, definitely. You could use Eckler. I would just use one of them. So pick Henry or Allen and then use Eckler on the other side because Eckler is going to be unowned. This doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So you want exposure to the passing and the running game. Eckler makes perfect sense for that. Ghost, what do you got on this Detroit-Arizona game? I know I'm crazy in fading Kyler Murray.
We ride or die together today on the Kyler Murray GPP fade train. I currently have 0 Kyler in any GPP whatsoever. Scares me to death, but you know what? We spent who knows how much time on it yesterday together. So it's the one thing that I can't get on board with either on FanDuel. DeAndre Hopkins is coming in 35% owned. You need him in cash, especially with how cheap everybody is and how much they mispriced everybody. You can eat the DeAndre Hopkins chalk in cash as well. Same thing with Kenyan Drake. He's coming in as the 3rd highest owned running back, and we actually both love him for GPPs as well. But then Kyler's coming in as the highest quarterback. Very dangerous in cash games to be stacking your quarterback with a running back with the wide receiver one. One of them is bound to let you down in your cash games. So although the ownership is there that it's justifiable to play all 3 of them together in your cash games on FanDuel, that's the spot where I ended up getting different. Just changed my quarterback and got my Cardinals exposure with Kenyan Drake and DeAndre Hopkins. The one thing that I wanted to point out, in addition to what Nick talked about with the Matt Patricia spy defense, Kyler Murray only has 2 touchdowns this season through the air, 2 interceptions as well. He does all of his work on the ground. So in week 1, I was talking about it with Rocker, of course, that he had some sneaky appeal against San Fran because of the way that he ran against them, and that's exactly what he did. I think he ran for 91 and a touchdown or 2. Last week was the same thing. We're all aboard the Kenyan Drake train this week. I think he gets a lot more looks in the red zone than what he's used to be. I don't see Detroit being able to keep up in a game like this. I don't see Kyler needing to throw the ball 40, 50 times. So all signs point to Kyler Murray having a safe game, but not a GPP ceiling type of game. So I could get down with it in cash, but even at that, stacking him with Drake, with Nuke, definitely not something that I like to do in cash games, stacking all in on one team, because if that flops, then your cash lineup is dead pretty much.
Absolutely. All right, that covers that game for the most part. Eckler over Zeke in large field GPP. That's a tough comparison. Yeah, it's tough. I think you got to play Zeke, or they're not necessarily. You can play them together. Yeah, favorite mini stacks: OBJ, Mclaurin. I'm a little bit down on Mclaurin now. Just got word that Denzel Ward is active, but you could certainly play that one definitely. Or OBJ, Logan Thomas is probably my favorite. Cook and Hump or Davis, absolutely. And Jeff Wilson and Ingram, love those mini stacks, absolutely. And then Ingram, do one with Wilson and Darius Slayton. All right. I like Fitz, but if Murray doesn't throw him a touchdown, is he worth it? Yeah, I think he's worth it with a 5.5 catch prop. You don't need him to score a touchdown. I think his touchdown odds are plus 185 right now, but 55-yard receiving prop and 55 catches, or 55 catches, that'd be awesome. 5.5 catches. That equates to like right around 13 DraftKings points. So just about 3x value. So yeah, absolutely. He's worth it. If he gets a touchdown, then we go nuts. So let's go. Larry Fitz. Next game. Everybody is in play. The hell is Seattle?
Oh boy.
Ghost, talk about it. I don't even need to.
I mean, who's not to like in this game? Seattle, you have Russell Wilson. Obviously, I do give the edge to Lockett over Metcalf. Metcalf probably has higher touchdown equity. Lockett probably more catch volume, and definitely prefer his matchup in the slot as well. Chris Carson is the man that's kind of being forgotten in that offense. A lot of people are going aerial attack in this game, so Chris Carson is probably the leverage spot over not playing Russell Wilson. But again, he's coming in high enough owned that people are pretty much going quarterback, running back, and one of these receivers, or quarterback and both wide receivers. So be wary of that. Some definite chalk coming in these afternoon games. And if you don't have it, you'll pretty much know where you stand at 4 p.m. Eastern, because there's a train coming at you with the amount of chalk that's in this game. So be wary of that. I would definitely recommend, and I know that you're going to agree with this as well, having at least one piece from each side of this game and virtually every lineup, highest total on the board. I was happy that we got the over 56.5 at plus 185 2 days ago when I texted you, and now it's actually minus 140. So, and the total is creeping up. So people know that it's going to be a shootout. Definitely get exposure to this game as well for your late night hammer. For Dallas, you can go with Dak, any one of these wide receivers. I do tend to leave Michael Gallup out, higher A-dot here, and Jamal Adams back there definitely scares me. Guy's an absolute force on the defensive end. So Michael Gallup would probably be the guy that ends up getting the short end of the stick here for me. Amari Cooper, definitely a big play guy, someone that you need to have a 30, 40-yard gain. But with Tyron Smith probably inactive for my Cowboys today, Dak might not have as much time to throw the ball. So all in conclusion, CeeDee Lamb is going to get a ton of work here. Hopefully he doesn't come in too chalky based on his price. On DraftKings, the fact that he's priced at the exact same price point as Deontay Johnson will definitely help his ownership there. And on FanDuel, pricing is just so soft that many people just aren't even going below $6,000 for a wide receiver as well. So I do really like CeeDee Lamb out of the slot here. Dak's been looking for him. Almost touched double-digit targets last week, and I think he does this week in what should be a very, very, very good game.
Yeah, everybody's in play. Get one guy of each team on all of your lineups, in my opinion. At least one guy. So I like two. So one Dallas, one Seattle in every lineup. Last game, Tampa Bay, Denver. Denver, the only person I want to play is Noah Fant. I'll just leave it at that, and we'll get out of here. Tampa Bay, I definitely have some interest in Tom Brady. I love Chris Godwin. It's a rookie corner playing the slot with Bryce Callahan on the outside now for Denver. So Godwin, smash play for GPPs. And then Mike Evans, you could always use him too. So I like a Tom Brady, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin stack because it's tough to run on Denver. This is where I'm going for some GPPs. I love Brady, love Evans, love Godwin. That's it. I'm ready to go.
So for me, it's all aboard the Chris Godwin train today in my main GPP lineups. Coming in at 2% owned on FanDuel is an absolute joke. Seeing Isang Basi, like you said, out of the slot, AJ Bouye's out. They moved Bryce Callahan over to the outside. This is a matchup that could not get any better, other than the fact if Chris Godwin was maybe seeing LaMarcus Joyner like Julian Edelman is, then maybe that would be a better matchup. But again, it doesn't get much juicier than this for him. He's 100% healthy, like you wrote in your article. He's ready to go. Brady absolutely loves this guy. They had a strong rapport in, I guess we could call it training camp with limited preseason action that they had in some inter-squad games there. So Chris Godwin's the guy for me today. Really high ceiling, perfect pivot off a guy like DeAndre Hopkins. And the fact that you're getting him at 2% owned when DeAndre Hopkins is nearly 40% owned, absolute smash spot.
Yep. There we go. All right. Favorite quarterback for just top quarterback in general. Who you got?
Top quarterback?
Yep. Top quarterback. And then we'll go GPP quarterback.
Top quarterback, Russ. GPP quarterback, ride or die, Cam Newton.
All right. I'm going top quarterback, Cam Newton. GPP, Joe Burrow. Running backs. Top running back for me, Dalvin Cook. Top GPP running back, also Dalvin Cook. But, Miles Sanders is a top running back for sure. And then GPP, Dalvin Cook.
Top running back for me would be Miles Sanders. Top GPP, going to go a bit more out on the limb here, Josh Kelly.
All right. Love it. Top wide receiver for me, it is going to be Tyler Lockett on DraftKings, and top GPP, probably a combination of Odell Beckham and Julian Edelman and Chris Godwin. Allen Robinson as well. Love him. There's just so many good receivers.
So many good receivers this week. Hard for me to pick one. If you're going ownership, DeAndre Hopkins for sure, definitely a safe floor. But my top wide receiver is Tyler Lockett, top GPP. I just went on a huge rant on how much I love Chris Godwin. So got to go with Chris Godwin there, top GPP.
All right. Tight end. Top tight end for me is probably, man, this sucks. I'm going to go Hayden Hurst. I'm going to go Hayden Hurst and then GPP Evan Ingram.
I'm going to go with top tight ends. Point per dollar, I'll say Logan Thomas. Definitely not highest raw points, but point per dollar, definitely love him. Top GPP, Hunter Henry.
All right, let's get it. Good luck to everybody. Thank you for joining. We appreciate all of the feedback and the questions. We love it. And we'll see you next week. Good luck today.